Hello and welcome to this re-upload of this video about what's changed with the UK drone law registration bits and pieces over the past couple of days. Now, a new document came out on the 21st. I did a video this morning, but I'm adding this extra little bit of talking at the front and re-uploading it because what I got was a feeling that lots of people kind of misunderstood what it was all about. The reason for the video is to try and abstract a great big whacking document which has lots of different bits of information from different sources, so when you read it, it appears to contradict itself, to kind of resolve that down to the 3 or 4 things that you need to know. Now, I would always recommend going and reading these kind of documents because none of the people you're probably watching on YouTube that's talking about this stuff are lawyers, and I definitely am not. But one of the things it's worthwhile keeping in mind is that until this document came out, we were going to have to pay £16.50, register every year, and the government will have all our details. And it was a complete waste of time because, as we know, all the people who are going to fly irresponsibly are still going to fly irresponsibly, and they're not going to register. So one of the comments that I read earlier from the original video is like getting all of the non-sex offenders to go on a non-sex offenders register and to pay £9 for the privilege. And I really like that analogy up to a point because that's exactly what it feels like. But the new Secretary for Transport has come in, and he has been an anti-registration component for a long time. And since he's come in, he's banged some heads together, and in a couple of short weeks, we've gone from £16.50 mandatory government registration to now £9, which is still terrible, but better than £16.50, and being able to register through your existing body, through FPVuk or the BMFA or whoever it is you're already with. Now, I, like practically everyone else I know in the hobby, is hoping that as time goes by, they will realise what a complete waste of time, money and effort this is, and just put it all in the too hard box and go and think about something else. So that's why I've taken the choice to do my A certificate through FPVuk, because now by doing that, I don't have to go onto the website, I don't have to give the government my details, and I can continue to fly models over 250 grams between now and the end of the year. But I've got my fingers crossed and hoping that through that time, they'll actually realise that this is a complete waste. The other thing to note, of course, is that both of those bodies, the people like the BMFA and FPVuk, will not be handing over your details without your express permission. I've checked with those guys and that's the case. We have these wonderful laws in the UK about data protection, and they would be in breach of those if they just gave your details over to the government willy-nilly. Now, every pilot needs to do what they think is right as part of this process, but by being part of organisations like the BMFA or FPVuk, we can comply with the law without actually going through the registration process. And that means that we can just do your like A certificate thing, which for the FPVuk is 10 questions. And again, this was a common misconception. The A certificate for FPVuk and BMFA are very different, but they're both more than the online test that the government wants us to do. But that means for me, I can fly between now and Christmas without having to register. Now, somebody that flies an awful lot and has a radio controlled YouTube channel where I'm doing stuff all the time, I have to kind of do that because somebody out there will no doubt try and report me if I say I'm not registering, I don't register, and then show videos of me flying 2 or 3 kilogram models or anything over 250 grams. So I'm having to kind of do it reluctantly to protect myself. But being part of an organisation like the BMFA or FPVuk can be a useful thing. If you race or you're part of a club, you probably have to have one of those anyway. It's also a good way to get the information back. Those guys are working very hard to let you know what's happening with the legislation, and they seem to have finally woken up and campaigning properly to make sure that this goes away as quickly as it possibly can. I personally think they could have probably done more up to this point, but we are where we are with that, I guess. The other benefit, of course, is that by being part of those organisations, you have the insurance. So if you have a crash and damages someone, people, pets or property, then you've got that insurance that you can fall back onto. I think that's just a responsible thing to have as a pilot if you're going to be flying anyway. So to recap, to be crystal clear, I'm not saying that you should go and register. That's up to you and what you want to do. The registration or non-registration and how all that works out and the implications for you as a pilot and the hobby are something that you need to come up with on your own. I'm trying to avoid registration as long as I possibly can. Again, that's why I've done the FPVuk thing and I've done the Certificate A, so that hopefully it'll give everyone enough time to come to the right conclusion. So with that said, and with that context done, let me hand over to Andrew to cover those questions again for all of you that don't want to read that entire document and try and figure it all out for yourself.
The operator fee, which is the annual fee for anyone operating, so whether you're a pilot or whether you're part of an organization, whatever that is, that was going to be £16.50, the very famous £16.50. That has now been reduced to a £9 annual fee, and it has also been made free for members of the UK model flying associations like the BMFA and the FPVuk till the end of January 2020. So it's not free forever. It hasn't been completely eliminated for members, but until January 2020, for the moment, they've said we'll let you pass on that for now.
Okay, so just to be crystal clear, I'm FPVuk, other people are BMFA. If I'm a member of that organisation, I'm exempt from having to pay that £9 until the end of January 2020.
Yeah, it's looking like at the moment it'll still be £9 payable through what the associations come the end of January 2020, but I'm sure that things are still going to change by then.
Okay.
But for now, don't have to worry about paying it. The online test, which is the other part of it, so that's for anyone who's a pilot flying over 250 grams. So that online test, you can now get round that by having an A cert, a B cert, a basic proficiency certificate, or a PFCO, permission for commercial operations. You can, any of those are basically way above and beyond what the online test is going to be, and they've said, okay, if you've got one of those, you've proved your competence, so don't worry about the online test until July 2020 for now. So we'll see how that goes on.
If you go onto the FPVuk website, log in, go into your details, in there is the option for your Part A and your Part B. I've actually done my Part A today, and it consisted of 10 questions. They're multiple guess. They're all common sense. They're relatively straightforward. You have to get an 80%, so 8 out of the 10, in order to get your certificate. And if you get that certificate as part of the organisation that you're with, then you're exempt from having to take the online test. And there was a couple of last things that were the headlights, weren't there, from this thing, Andrew?
Absolutely. So if you do want to go through the drone registration and education scheme rather than one of the UK model flying associations, and the system goes live on the 5th of November, and the registration and operating registration, that's all the requirement from the 30th of November. So between now and the 30th of November, if you are a member of one of the associations, I'm sure they will be sending out information about anything that you need to do to sort of cross the T's and dot all the I's by then.
This is the first time that some common sense has been introduced into this process. Still disappointing, it's £9. So if you're not part of something like FPVuk or the BMFA and you just haven't got round to doing it, I would really say now's the time to join. Get that insurance in case you accidentally damage people, pets or property, and also have all of this stuff taken care of by somebody who has your interests at heart. Andrew, thank you so much again for the time this evening. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic news. And again, links to LDO in the description down below. I'm sure this will be discussed at length on the show tomorrow night.
And I'm sure we'll also discuss coming up at some point how this changes in January, and also what's going to be happening in July 2020.
Yes, let's hope the sanity continues. Fingers crossed, eh? Thanks for watching the video and watching right to the very end. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you like the video and like what I'm doing here, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon too. If you really like what I'm doing, you can go the extra mile and become one of my Patreons for access to me directly for support, and also giveaways and regular updates too. If you're looking for particular content, then check out the playlist. I organise all of my videos into playlists, so if you're looking for a particular topic, you can find everything here. If it's called Introduction To, it's designed to start very simply and build on that simple introduction to teach you all about it. If it's called For Beginners, then that is really aimed at people who are brand new to that part of the hobby. You can also search on YouTube for anything that you're interested in using the search function at the top. So iNav Painless 360 will find all of my videos and even the playlists around iNav. So thanks again for watching and happy flying.